This exclusive interview is brought to you by RAIRFoundation.com. We're excited to have Stephanie Ameiss with us here at RAIR Foundation. Stephanie has a great deal of experience as a police officer, and I'm going to let her tell you about her own personal history, and then we're going to get into some of the things going on around the country and around the world right now. Stephanie, why don't you tell us a bit about your own background?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm a retired police detective. I've worked over 20 years in law enforcement, and I retired as a terrorism detective. I worked patrol and then gangs and narcotics and then ended up in terrorism. So I've worked with a lot of career criminals and loved being a police officer.
And you must notice, of course, that around the country and even around the world, police leaders and politicians who are the ones, mandating police to act, have been taking a knee for certainly what appear to be the people that are committing crimes across the country. How do you feel about that?
I feel heartbroken. I feel heartbroken that my brothers are being asked to take a knee to criminals and to the communists that are part of this movement. There are over 800,000 police officers in America, and there are hundreds that have been injured during these riots, several that have been killed. And now administration are asking us to kneel with those who with those who, not with the actual criminals that have done it, and we don't know if they are or not, but with those who support that violence. And it's heartbreaking that the officers will actually do it. And so I actually want my fellow officers to find the courage for once to say no to the administration. That's not part of your orders. It's not part of the oath you took. It's not part of the oath that you stand up for every day. When we put on our uniform every day, we are promising to the public that we're going to protect them, and we are serving them and our community. But we can't do that if we don't know who we are as core of a person.
Yeah, that makes a great deal of sense. As I understand it, the oath of office that a significant number of elected politicians and civil servants take in the United States is to defend the Constitution and the United States and the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. It would seem like the taking a knee would actually be submission to enemies of that Constitution. Is that how you would see it, or?
Absolutely. We are submitting, and we're asking for an apology for something that these good officers haven't done. And we're submitting to criminals and to the communists that are trying to overthrow our government. And we're here to stand up for our government. So absolutely, that's what it's happening.
What would you like to see police doing when they're asked to kneel in this manner for this purpose?
So police officers, they're given the authority to, as many call them peacemakers, but to have command presence. And so the command presence is to take control of any scene and for the people that are part of a situation, of a crime, victims, of just citizens. Police officers have to take command of the scene, and we don't do that by kneeling. So what I ask them to do, and I ask citizens to support them, is for them to stand firm, and for police officers to stand tall and to stand for justice, not to kneel. There's no tactical advantage to kneeling.
So if a police officer refuses, if he's instructed by the mayor or city council or whatever, Nancy Pelosi, if he's instructed to do this kneel with his force or whatever, should they choose, assuming that it's not the police choice to do this, and I'm going to guess that it wouldn't be, what consequences could they face? I mean, we could certainly see that they might be fired, although that would be, you could argue that'd be unjust dismissal. But would they face any legal consequences, do you think?
I can't see where they would face any legal consequences. Many of them are feeling peer pressures they're describing, and but as far as it's not written in orders. It's really hard to describe as far as, but they might feel the pressure if their command staff are saying to do it, but they don't have to, and I'm asking them not to. So they could, I guess, get paper in their file for not doing something that their commanding officer asked them to do, but that's worth every paper in their file. It's worth it's worth standing up for your oath and who you believe that you are as the core of a police officer and what you're there to do. And you're not there to submit. You're there to protect.
There are calls around the country, and I think probably outside the country too, since this appears to be coming from a kind of communist core directing all of this theater, to defund the police. What do you think that means, and how do you think that's going to look?
It's going to look, police are already very short-staffed. It's already a hard job that to get enough people that have the right background, that want to actually put their life on the line every day for people that want to hurt them. And so we're already really short-staffed. So with taking away money from staffing and from, so for example, Phoenix Police Department is already 800 officers short. So if you defund, for example, Phoenix Police Department, that means that, a 1-minute response time for an emergency call, let's say a drowning baby, that's going to take 10 minutes for that officer to get there to be able to breathe life back to a baby. Or let's say an active shooter call, and if we're even more than 800 officers short, an active shooter call, we're not going to have officers to show up to stop shooting at kids' schools. It doesn't make any sense, the defunding of police departments. I know that the public is looking for answers, and the answers could be with more supporting your police officers and supporting your government instead of constantly trying to overthrow it.
That makes perfect sense to me. Thank you very much, Stephanie Ameiss, for taking the time and trouble to talk with us here at RAIR Foundation.